Hi, I'm Dr. Marilyn Schlitz. I first discovered the Rhine Center in 1979. I was a starry eyed undergrad, ready to tackle the world and change our paradigm of how we understand ourselves and the nature of reality. I wanted to be on the forefront of cutting edge research that would allow us a deeper and fuller understanding of our human potentials. And I think that the study of parapsychology is fundamental to that exploration. I started with my research in remote viewing, the idea that there are possibilities that our consciousness can reach out and engage the world in ways that aren't part of the dominant physical materialist paradigm. I got curious about things like psychic healing. What are these powers and potentials within us, not only to heal ourselves and connect our mind, body, spirit, but also the possibility that our intentions can reach out to others in ways that are health promoting. I started with some research at the Rhine Center looking at the ways in which we might help to heal mice in a controlled setting. We had a situation where we would put these mice to sleep, put them under video cameras, and then with a random generator, turn one of the cameras on and the other served as the control condition. This work was initially developed by Watkins and Watkins, and with the help of Jim Davis, we modernized the technology of that, and we were able to show that with intention directed toward healing, we were able to wake up the anesthetized intention mouse quicker than the control. Well, this was pretty exciting and paradigm busting, really. This led me to move on to the Mind Science Foundation in San Antonio, Texas, where I worked with Dr. William Broad and Dr. Helmut Schmidt, continuing to deepen my understanding of these potentials of our human consciousness. We began to look at things like the possibility that instead of working with animals, where it's very hard to get informed consent, we started working with human beings. And Dr. Broad and I created a research paradigm. We called it Distant Mental Interactions with Living Systems. And the idea in this work was that we would monitor the physiology of one person in a room, and then another person, a healer or even the experimenters, would attempt to wake up the distant person under randomized controlled circumstances. So we used a kind of on-off sequence that allowed us to measure and to calculate the average amount of autonomic nervous system activity during the intention periods as compared to the control periods. Over this period of 10 years, we conducted 14 formal studies using this paradigm, and we found significant differences in the physiology of people when they were being intended for with a positive, loving intention as compared to the control conditions. Again, extremely exciting research that does not fit within the box at all in terms of conventional materialist science, but was done using the best quality research methods that we could find. And a lot of my rigor and discernment around science was started at the Rhine Center when I really got to work with a team of researchers who were trying to take these vast mysteries of consciousness and bring them into an experimental setting. From there, I went to graduate school. I did a master's degree in social and behavioral science, and then a PhD in social anthropology at the University of Texas in Austin. During that time, I again got to polish up my epistemological skills. I was very interested in not only what we could learn in the lab using quantitative, statistically based approaches and methods, but also what is the sort of broader, deeper understanding of human experience. And not wanting to just be anecdotal, but to continue that kind of rigor, I began to study qualitative methods. And anthropology was a great place for me to do that. And also by focusing on medical anthropology, where I was able to look at different cultures and worldviews and their approaches to health and healing, I was able to expand my understanding of the nature of healing and the nature of consciousness. From there, I did two postdoctoral fellowships, one at Stanford University in the Department of Psychology and looking at social psychology, and the other in cognitive science at Science Applications International. And in both of those cases, I was able to continue to explore the nature of, our beliefs and our worldviews and how we know what we know. And really questioning these assumptions about, how we use science and how there are these kind of truth claims that we make. We appeal to an objective world, but truly our beliefs are formulated at the subjective level, at our own experiences of what we have had first person contact with. I went from there to work at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, where I began as the director of research and moved to the vice president of research and education, ultimately becoming the president and CEO of the not-for-profit. And in that time, 26 years of scholarship, all of the foundational ideas I cultivated at the Rhine Center stayed with me. And I was able to expand, the kind of work I was doing in order to really challenge the deepest core assumptions about what is reality and to consider the possibilities that we know in multiple ways and we interact in multiple ways, that we are fundamentally interconnected even when we are at a distance. I feel deeply that this fundamental research is more important today than ever before, as we're living in a time of a global pandemic where social isolation and separation are defining our interactions. There is a problem, an anxiety, a fear around loneliness, and this idea of separation from each other can be very limiting. What the research we've been doing from the time I was at the Rhine Center up until today is really about how much we are connected, whether it's through the parapsychology work or the noetic sciences or transpersonal psychology. All of these areas lead to a different model of reality, one that is not simply our physical boundaries, but our metaphysical connections, and how it is that even when we feel separate, we are fundamentally together. And I think that's heartening news, particularly in these stressful times. Thank you.